Hello, I'm Animatronic-Artistry, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will discuss about the mediocre melodies. This video is like a mix of discussion and theory, hopefully it makes sense. I'm sure many of you know who the mediocre melodies are, but I'm going to say it anyway. The mediocre melodies first appeared in Five Nights at Freddy's 6, as purchasable items from Stan's Budget Tech catalog, except for Orville Elephant, who can be afforded from Rare Finds auction. As you can see, my channel's mascot is Ned Bear. I just love the mediocre melodies just because they are so unique to me. They're not Freddy and his friends, but you know what? Sometimes Freddy doesn't have to be the star of the show. Sometimes Freddy needs to step aside and let others shine. When it comes to the mediocre melodies, only Mr. Hippo is the one people like, but I'm sure there are people out there who like all the members of the mediocre melodies. It is unclear where the Stan's Budget Tech company got the inspiration to make such quirky and oddly cute animatronics. My theory is that Stan's Budget Tech got the character ideas from the Fredbear and a Friends TV show that is speculated to have debuted in 1983. Another theory is that Stan's Budget Tech is the Five Nights at Freddy's universe version of Characters Unlimited, the company that brought us the famous Zoltar fortune teller animatronic. I included Characters Unlimited as a potential inspiration for Stan's Budget Tech because the Mystic Hippo animatronic from Help Wanted 2 was heavily inspired on the Zoltar fortune teller. The exact age of the mediocre melodies animatronics is unknown. The characters could be of different ages dating back to Fredbear's. Ned Bear is one of these examples because his name is a pun on Fredbear, meaning that the Ned Bear animatronic character class was created when Fredbears were still a thing in the 70s and early 80s. That could mean that Ned Bear is an old animatronic character, and his class is older than the rest of the other mediocres. While the Pig Patch character class could have been created in the late 80s when the toy animatronics were being installed at Fazbear locations to replace the original withered animatronic designs. The Happy Frog character class could have been built in the 90s when the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 animatronics were being installed at some locations to replace the toy animatronics. For Orville Elephant and Mr. Hippo, I'm not sure, but they could have been built together and could have been installed at small locations. I might get some hate from this, but this just makes sense to me. I feel that the marionette was manufactured by the Stan's Budget Tech company, which could explain why, to me, the marionette fit in the same weird out-of-place art style as the rest of the mediocre melodies. Stan's Budget Tech could have created the marionette animatronic during the Fredbear's Family Diner days. It just makes sense to me, especially since the wiki does not state who created the animatronic, and the marionette just feels like it was made by the same company as the mediocre melodies. But what do you think? Could the famous marionette be a mediocre melodies? The answer is maybe, but I do think it's possible because of how simple the marionette is design-wise. Another theory is that the Stan's Budget Tech company got the character ideas from what was the next big thing at popular animatronic restaurants. Examples would be the Funtime animatronics. So the Stan's Budget Tech company saw how impressive the Funtime characters looked, so they decided to create the security puppet, maybe to compete with them. The puppet we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 could have been built by the Stan's Budget Tech company to pay tribute to both the original puppet that could have been created by Henry, Emily and Charlotte's death. That could explain why the puppet's tear tracks are part of the design instead of being put there by the rain like the security puppet minigame said it happened. The tear tracks on the security puppet could also have been put there to pay tribute as well. In conclusion, sometimes people have to understand that just because the mediocre melodies are, well, mediocre, it doesn't mean they're not special to some people. I believe that in the in-game universe, the mediocre melodies are sought after by private collectors for a bit of nostalgia and to preserve the history of these animatronics, and compared to the hard-to-maintain Freddy animatronics, the mediocre animatronics could still be used to this day, at small restaurant locations or past Fazbear restaurant locations, that got rid of the Fazbear animatronics and got mediocre ones. And yes, I don't know how a private collector can own animatronics that can move on their own, and has some kind of free will, but it's Five Nights at Freddy's. real-life logic just does not fit in this franchise. In addition, I do somewhat believe the marionette was manufactured by the Stan's budget tech company, because well, maybe the puppet design was not their idea, but they could have seen potential in the design, so they could have brought it back in 1987 for the grand reopening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Or maybe Stan, who I'm assuming is the owner of the company, could be related to Henry and Charlotte, an uncle to Charlotte, or maybe a brother or cousin to Henry. The possibilities are endless. That's all for me. This video could have not have made any sense, but it doesn't matter. I like making theories that are a bit out there, and I like how my mangle video, aka my last video, got lots of views. I am very grateful. I'm your host, Animatronic-Artistry, and goodbye.